How you been?
Been good.
Have you been over to England and tried Italy's new food? I hear they're putting pineapple on it.
It's such a Protestant thing to do.
Oh, that's rich, coming from a filthy Catholic.
Prepare to die, heathen.
Blackguard.
Such mediocrity. Let your sword do the talking.
I will, it will be loquacious to a fault.
I see no issue with this.
Now that the blade is mostly done, I just have a lot left to do. First of all, we're going to start working on the swept hilt, pommel, and handle. I think the first thing I should get out of the way is the swept hilt. I have this chunk of mild steel right here, which I will use for that section. It's going to make a pretty good guard section where I can cut a slot through it and basically build all of this off of it. The first step in making the swept hilt was to forge the quillions, which I used rebar for. The second step was to do it badly and do it over again, but we don't have to talk about that. After each new piece is forged, I will then grind it and then add it to the guard. Here, I'm fitting up the base of the guard, which is what I'm going to build the whole rest of the guard off of. It takes a little bit to do properly. With the fitting mostly done, I go over to the grinder to round it out. I had to be especially careful welding the quillions onto this piece, because if they weren't straight, you could definitely tell, since everything else was going to be built off of them. The next piece to be made was the knuckle bow, which I wanted to have a fun little curl at the bottom. It might just be me, but I think, well, personally, if I was going to get stabbed, I would like the person stabbing me to have a little decorative curl on their sword. After cleaning it up, I welded it to the rest of the guard. It was at about this point in the project where I realized following the designs you make is such a chump thing to do, and instead I should just wing it. Once I was done welding up the guard, I decided to polish the blade up.
For those of you who were wondering, how the heck is he gonna make something like that swept hilt look any good? Or prevent it from rusting? Or any number of different issues that can arise by having something so complex. This is my secret weapon. I'm going to use this sand blaster to make this look good.
If you're wondering how sandblasting helps it not to rust, after sandblasting you can oil the steel, and because it's sandblasted, it'll help the oil stick to it better. Once done with the sandblasting, I grabbed 2 pieces of wood, marked out the tang on it, and chiseled it out. Once the slot was large enough for the tang, I glued the 2 pieces together. here's the chunk of steel I'm going to be using for the pommel. With the pommel roughed in and drilled, I went back over to the handle. I made a mistake with the last sword I made, and polished the handle, which made it hard to hold onto. So for this one, I'm going to leather wrap the handle. There's 3 things I learned in doing this wrap. 4 actually. But there's 3 that are important. I can't have some like straight line here, otherwise it's just gonna end up being squiggly and terrible. Next, this needs to be slightly higher for the grip to feel comfortable when you're pistol gripping, because my finger just ends up landing on it, and that's just like pointless. The third important thing is that this should be thinned more. I'm gonna tear this off and start again. Oh, also the 4th thing I learned was that glue goes everywhere. After redoing the leather wrap, I welded some all thread to the end of the tang on the sword. The sword is going to be a takedown construction. I'm going to end up making a nut that fits onto the end of the sword and holds everything together. This is the nut I just talked about. I drilled a larger hole into the back side of the pommel so that the nut can screw into it. And of course, sandblasted both the nut and pommel. After I was done with that, I oiled up all the components and put them together. To add some flair and improve the fit up, I ended up making 2 brass spacers. Done. It's done. It has been like 190 days since my last video came out. But it's done now, so that's cool, right? I was so excited for this project because it emphasizes real quality in the making of the blade, because how many swords can do that? Oh, this thing is awesome. And it's just so well balanced that when you hold it, it just... I could do that. I could do that for hours. Thank you so much for watching this video. I can't wait to start on my next project, and take you guys along with it. Thanks for watching.
Such mediocrity.
Oh, dang it.
I got messed up.
Have you tried the new Italian food that they make in English? Such a Protestant thing to do. That's such a filthy Catholic thing to say.
Prepare to die, heathen.